Hello guys, I come to you from my brother's old room at my parents' house to talk about my TBR for 18th century April. So, I hope you guys are all still doing well. These are crazy times. I have left my small solitary apartment for my parents' house for the duration so that I don't go stir crazy. I like introverting, but not quite that much. So here I am in this that's a pile of sticks. Really quickly, I just wanted to share what my 18th century April TBR is. This is vastly too ambitious. I will not get all of these books. So the one that I will definitely finish, because it's the one I'm currently reading, is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. This is a story about a man who gets shipwrecked on a Caribbean island and lives there for 20 years. It's quite interesting, and it's actually sort of a fast read, which I was not expecting. Maybe because the last book that I read, the last 18th century book I read, was Pamela, and that took a while. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I'm about a quarter of the way into it, and I'm hoping that I will be able to finish it like in the next week or so I have plenty of time to move on to something else. So that's my kind of like read an 18th century novel, or read an 18th century book. For my 18th century book by a woman, I'd really like to get to The Female Quixote by Charlotte Lennox. So if I can finish Robinson Crusoe in time, this is the book I will be picking up next, and hopefully I will be able to, at the very least, read these two books. This one I heard about last year, and I'm really interested in it. It's a sort of slightly mock romance about a young woman who reads too many novels and how that impacts her life. I've read the first couple of chapters, and it's sort of fun and silly, and I think it'll be enjoyable and kind of nice, a nice thing to read in this time. So we have that. For a sort of non-novel, I will be reading Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations. I'm kind of cheating. I have to read this for school anyway, and I was like, well, we'll just count it for the challenge because I'm not going to get to anything else. So here we go. This is a treatise about economics from the 1700s. Should be a rousing good time. Actually, it might be quite interesting because Adam Smith was one of the earliest proponents of capitalism, so we'll see what he has to say. And how he envisioned the economic system working. If you are going for that challenge, remember poetry counts and is probably much more fun and interesting to read and less time consuming than this. This is abridged, guys. It's so much book. Like I said, I'm only reading that because I have to for school. I wouldn't otherwise. I would pick, probably if I had a choice and I had a lot of free time, I would read Alexander Pope's The Rape of the Lock, which is a sort of mock epic that just sounds sort of, I've read parts of it, and it's just quite silly and fun and imaginative and sarcastic. So that's something that I would consider. If I wanted to dig into something that was nonfiction, I would probably pick up John Boswell's Life of Samuel Johnson, which is a little bit longer, but again, I've read parts of it and it's very interesting. It's kind of one of the earliest biographies, and Samuel Johnson was just a very interesting figure. He was an important intellectual. He wrote the first dictionary for the English language, like by himself, and just a super kind of fascinating figure. And Boswell was a close friend of Johnson's, and so he kind of had it like an insider's view. So maybe next year I will have time for that. Probably not, but you know, someday. But for now, Wealth of Nations. And then, if by some miracle I've gotten through Robinson Crusoe and The Female Quixote, I will pick up for my gothic novel Charles Brockden Brown's Wyland. This also has the memoirs of Carwin the Billiquist in it, but that is unfinished, so I will read Wyland. Charles Brockden Brown is a littler known American Gothic writer from the 18th century, the kind of very end of the 18th century. I read his book Edgar Huntley, or The Sleepwalker, last year. Yeah, and it was fantastic. It was just like, not, I should qualify that. It was fantastic because it was kind of crazy. It wasn't like going to be the next Jane Austen or George Eliot, but just kind of a bit of a trip. There are random panthers. Did you know that there were panthers in Pennsylvania in the 1700s? I did not. There were. So I'm looking forward to picking up another book like that and just sort of being flabbergasted by its gothicness. So I'm hoping that I'll have time to get to this by the end of the month, but we'll see. I don't actually know what it's about. How a small community is disturbed by the intrusion of the mysterious Carwin, whose extraordinary verbal gifts cast doubt and dissension among them. Thank you, Penguin. That told me nothing. But I like Charles Brockden Brown, so he's worth reading. So that is my TBR. I was sort of rambling, as usual. I would love to hear if you're participating, what you're planning on reading. Remember, the challenge is just to read one book, and you can read extras if you want. So we'll see how well I do with my own challenges. Probably not very well. So the bar is really low, guys. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you're reading. If you've read any of these books and enjoyed them. I have read Robinson Crusoe. I'm rereading it, but yes. Or if you do actually need recommendations, or you're torn between 3 books and you want some arbitration, let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you guys about the books in the comments. Let's just take a little bit of, 18th century joy in our current chaos. So that is it for this video. Thanks for watching, and if you're participating in 18th Century April, thanks for participating. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.